What's up? Welcome back to episode 26 of the You Might Be Surprised podcast. What's going on, everyone? That's how we're going to start it. Man, what is going on, everybody? How's everyone doing? I'm doing great. It's Friday, currently Friday the 13th, you know. Hope no scary stuff happens. I hope I don't get attacked by a ghost or a werewolf or somehow my car explodes. You know, that'd be nice to not happen. But, you know, it's Friday the 13th and you never know what's going to happen. I took today off of work because it's my sister's birthday. And also, I didn't want to work. I'd rather get paid kind of to make a podcast and stream the new Call of Duty all day than to actually do my actual job, you know? The life of a content creator who has not yet made it. You know, that's who I am. That's what I'm doing. Story time. I meant to tell this story last podcast. Totally slipped my mind because I was so obsessed with me doing stand up for the first time. Yada yada yada. And I'm also gonna be talking about that again today. Because I watched the Comedy Store documentary. But last week, okay. I can't believe I forgot to tell this story on the podcast. Last week, on Tuesday, I was so hyped about me looking forward to stand up last Friday that I was like, I need to get a haircut because I need to look beautiful on stage. You know, this is a big moment for me, you know, make or break it. Not really. But I went and get my haircut, okay? I like my haircut a certain way, all right? I get a 1 to 3 fade. Okay, but I don't take the fade all the way up. I like it blended up top, and it just looks really good with my head and my hair. And I want to keep it longer because what I do is I let my hair grow, and then I get a haircut, and I don't touch the top, and then I wait a month, and then the next month I take a 1/4 inch off the top. Okay, that's how I get my haircut. And dude, you want to know what happened to me? I can't believe I forgot to tell the story. I go in and I say exactly what I just said to you. And this bitch, or this guy, I don't want to be too mean, but this bitch takes my clippers and goes, okay, 1 to 3 fade, all the way up. All the way up. Dude, I was furious. I was so mad. And it didn't hit me because I was like, oh, maybe it's not going to look that bad. And I got into the car afterwards and I freaked out. I was screaming. I was yelling. I hate looking like crap. And I was like, dude, my hair, I look like a 12th grader. I look like, do you know those fades that every 12-year-old gets when they start to figure out their hair and stuff, where their mom's like, oh, you should go get a nice haircut, honey. Yeah, that looked like me. She kept, like, my hair was very long, but she kept it so long, it looked horrible, okay? Spent $27 on that haircut. Then I was like, fuck this. I need to get this fixed. Went to another haircutting place and spent $30. So I spent $57 in less than 1 hour on haircuts. And I'm still pissed about it. Still mad. My hair doesn't look terrible. Still mad, though. Mad. Hot raging mad, you know? I'm so mad that I will never go back there again. You know? I need a gay dude to cut my hair because they always know what's up. At least that's what I've heard. Oh man, that is what I heard. But yeah, so following last podcast into this podcast, kind of, I have been obsessed with stand up, and I want to go back on stage tonight because tonight is Friday, and Fridays normally when they do the open mics. I'm gonna be around a bunch of my family, so I might not go this Friday, but next Friday and next Tuesday is when the open mic that I went, and I've literally been thinking about comedy the whole week. And no, not so much the comedy aspect. Like I want to be funny and I want to tell funny jokes, but just the being on stage aspect. Like I think of all this stupid stuff that I could do, like pointing at the stage, like you, like it's just like that was stupid, but like just pointing at the stage, like oh my gosh. And what got me like crazy obsessed with this was I watched the Comedy Store documentary, and that like really opened up my eyes a lot more on comedy. Like I'm very versed in today's comedy. I follow people like Andrew Scholes, Joe Rogan, Shab. You can kind of count him as a comedian. I mean, he's pretty good at podcasting and that sort of thing. Who else? Bert and Tom, uh, Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee. They all have their these podcasts and stuff, and you hear them talk about this time. So like, I'm very versed with them. And for a while, I used to think that I only liked podcast comedy. Like those podcasts are absolutely hilarious, and I think there's very few comedians, or I think there's a very select comedians that are funnier on their podcasts than they are actually on stage. Delia, in my opinion. Um, but I wasn't really versed in like the older generations of comedians. Like I knew Chris Rock, uh, Dave Chappelle, still people that are doing it now. But like I just forgot his name. The guy that killed himself. R.I.P. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Him. I feel terrible for forgetting his name. There's so many. And I didn't really know like the background and things like that. But watching the Comedy Store is this amazing venue. Um, this amazing venue in California that like pretty much birthed like all these great comedians and great like show people. And you see this documentary and you're like, I want to be there. And like, I mean, some I want to dive into later, but some of the things that we can talk about, like, I wish I was around. Also, by the way, this is what's up, what's poppin'. Um, I want to be around in the 80s and 70s, particularly the 70s, like when Jay Leno and why can't I think of his name? Jay Leno and Letterman were there. That looked like such a crazy time. Like watching that documentary and seeing like these people like didn't have a care in the world. Like they were going to do stand up or they were gonna die trying. And I think that's what I like for me. And as I'm going through my life, as I went through high school, went through college, and now I'm supposed to be working this 9 to 5 job where like the like stability. It's very hard to leave that, but like if I was in the 70s, like I would love to say that I would move across there and just try to become like a comedian because like I feel like I've been trapped in this box where like as soon as I did stand up and just goofed off in front of everyone, I had this like weight lifted off my shoulder. And like seeing that, like seeing clips of old Adam, not Adam Sandler. Why do I want to say his name? Wrote down the name. Um, Letterman, Jay Leno. Why can't? Oh my gosh, this is gonna make me mad. Hold on, everyone. I need to search this up. The Mass Cast. I know I'm freaking Jim Carrey. I'm so stupid. Jim Carrey. Seeing him, he uh he had he had a story on there that blew my mind. Okay, we all know him as being absolutely crazy, but he took it to a whole nother level that I don't think that people could do nowadays. He had this joke where he went up and completely bombed. Okay, he bombed so hard, and there was this piano that's in the Comedy Store. So to punish himself, he went and laid down on the piano and shut the thing because there was a grand piano, the top of the piano. He shut that on him, and he went on at like 7:30, and he laid in there from 7:30 until 2 o'clock at night. Okay, when there's barely no one there at 2 o'clock at night, he pops the door open and says, "I punished myself enough," and then hops out. He carried on that joke from sitting in there from 7:30 to 2 o'clock. Now, when you hear that, you like that's so stupid, yada yada yada. But it's just like the art form of that is absolutely crazy to me. Um, like it blows my mind that like these people just went out there and all they cared about was comedy, and I think that's so hard to get to nowadays. And I think that's just because of all the technology. Like we're constantly on our phones. Like we're worrying about other countries when we can't even figure out problems in our like small circle. You know, like we can't go on our phones without seeing something crazy that's happening in the world. I mean, it could just be that Corona's here and the political situation just happened in the United States and everyone's freaking out. But I feel like we're moving into a direction where like that type of stuff is not going to be as popular. Like one of the things that blew my mind about that was Joey Diaz was on the Comedy Store documentary, and he was explaining to somebody that his daughter's 6 and hasn't done shit with his life. Here, hold on. Let me see if I can say it like him. Yo, dog, my fucking daughter's 6 and she hasn't done nothing with her motherfucking life. I would say that's kind of like Joey. Um, but it like he was explaining when he was 6, like he was like the front man for like, cause his mom and dad like sold like drugs and stuff, and like he held his mom while his mom died, and like these things that like only happened in the 70s, like these crazy things that I feel like aren't going. But the point with the Joey Diaz thing was like his daughter's 6 and hasn't done a thing with her life. When he was 6, he was out doing these things, doing that, this, that, and that. And I mean, that's also kind of like the New York life, the New Jersey life where he lived. And I think it's more of just like the small town person in me that I've lived so far in my life, where I'm just like, I feel like I'm missing out on all these crazy things I could be doing, going out and seeing with people. Um, but to like bring that back to the Comedy Store, because I want to talk about it a little bit, because I have the hot takes for the day is gonna go in a kind of weird direction. But back to that thing, it opened up my mind to Sam Kinison. I feel like if he was around now, I would have loved him, because I love heavy metal, and he just screams into the mic and is hilarious. And that dude, like, I need to look at more of his comedy so I can try to like write that in. Um, and like Richard Pryor, that was cool to see. And what was really cool, um, and like made me appreciate comedy more, and Mitzi, the person who owned the Comedy Store, was I mean, these were back in the times, like they showed some from the 60s and 70s and things like that. And culture and diversity was crazy there. Like if you look back at those times, like the whole like race thing was going on, and it was cool to see that there was a place in America that did not care about that, and it was just like, if you're funny and if you're gonna express yourself on stage, then you have a home here. Um, I feel like a lot of that stuff now is just not like a thing. I feel like America and things like that are so separated, and like jokes and comedy, like it's a good time to be a comic and want to do comedy, but it's also like a weird time too, because you don't know what's gonna happen. No, and I have no idea what's gonna happen. I don't even consider it, like I did stand up once, but like I've been obsessed with it for a while, and I think I'm obsessed with that culture because I've been from such a small town, if that makes sense. If that makes sense, dude. Oh, I remember when these podcasts used to be funny and not me just going on these weird rants. I still want to make it more comedy based, but also it's my podcast. I can do and talk about what I want. I don't really write these to be funny anymore. To go on this note, to continue on what's up, what's poppin'. I had these segments and I thought I was gonna do that, but now it's just like I talk about my life and then I go into these takes that aren't really funny anymore. Like one of my greatest podcasts was when I looked at that TV show that was about a talking sex doll. It has 22 downloads, which is crazy for me because I have such a small podcast. And I feel like, maybe I should do more of that, you know? But like, I also like talking about things that are prevalent in my life. And I should probably write more like that, you know? I'm always unsure with these podcasts because I never know if what I'm doing is correct or not. And I think that's the beauty of podcasting and the beauty of comedy too, is you kind of just go up there, and if you get laughs, then you know you're doing something right. And if you don't, it's back to the drawing board, you know. And I feel like that's what I've been doing every podcast. I'm like, oh, back to the drawing board. How can I do this differently? How can I do that differently? How can I make my podcast better? How can I make cooler thumbnails to get more people to click on it? How can I make cooler clips to share on social media? Because now I'm sharing it everywhere. And yeah, I'm just chugging and lugging. But to go into hot takes now, with what I wanted to say, to bring it back to what I was saying is like, I feel like this hot take is not really a funny hot take. It's kind of like a thing that I noticed, right? A thing that I noticed when I was watching the Comedy Store. So, going back on all these things where I wish I was there to experience all of these like cool things and being with people and these stories to tell. I think like that type of lifestyle is slowly fading away, and you're gonna have the people like Joe Rogan who are gonna be like, "Oh, the good times, this, and that," and you are gonna be sitting there like, "Oh, that sounds so great," but then when it's put in front of you to do that, you're like, eh. Like today, for example, I could go out and do stand-up comedy. I want to go and do stand-up comedy, but I'm like, oh, I could just sit here and stream. Maybe people will watch me play the new Call of Duty, right? Like, isn't that weird? And I feel like that's just like the way the world is right now. But we've been living the way for the past like almost a year, and like we see no end in sight. Supposedly, there's a cure for Corona. Kind of weird how that happened right after Biden wins. Conspiracy, maybe, who knows? But like these big tech companies and things like that are making it easier and easier to stay in your house, to sit and watch Netflix, to sit and watch HBO Max that I just recently got, Showtime, watch all these cool things. And it's like the people who are rich and famous can go out and do these cool things with their lives, and then you sit down and watch them do this, I feel like we're just going into this trapped society that I don't really know if is a good is a is a good thing. My speech. Tim Dillon had a really funny point that he had said on a podcast. He was like, I personally can't wait till when I go to my door to go outside, there's a robot that says, the air control is at -3%. I don't really think you should go out there. And he's like, fuck it. I didn't really want to go out there anyway. He shuts the door, goes back on TV. I feel like that's not very far away. And that hurts me inside because I've been trapped inside for like the past like 7 months where I just go to work and then home and I'm not really doing anything with my life. And I think that's where life is heading. I really do feel like that's where life is heading, and it's sorry, heard noise. And yeah, I really feel like that's where it's going, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it whatsoever. And yeah, that's my hot take. The hot take for the week is just like, is life really going to being online? Is there like, is like going out to bars and things like that really like a thing of the past? Because like even when you go out to a bar right now, you kind of feel kind of shitty. You're like, ooh, I could have got corona, and if I get corona, I could have spread it to every person I live with, and then if they didn't know that they had it and they go to the store, they're spreading it. It's a thing that I think about, but I also think about those crazy things all the time, which is probably why I sometimes just like and eat a whole pizza like I did last night and watch a documentary. Anyone else? Just me? Cool. Cool. Let's get into the pod decks questions of the week that I've been doing. View pod decks library hat. Let's do the future freaks me out. We can talk about that because we can do this because we were just speaking of that. If you had to delete a person from your Facebook so they won't be a part of your future, who would it be? Oh boy. I feel like it'd be most of my high school class. I could care less about them or if they could even see me. It's weird. You can relate this to a story that I've heard is like this 65-year-old and his son are walking down the road, and he tells his son, like, um, let's go to the left. And the son's like, why? And he's like, well, because I see guys from my high school and they used to pick on me, and I just don't want to go by there. Now, granted, the dude's 65, and this happened years ago, and people have grown and stuff, but those scars and stuff are still with them. And I feel like that's kind of like that story kind of leads into why I said, fuck my high school class, because I really don't care about them. Weird, I know, but probably them. Let's get into another one. A relationship deck. Preview. Do you believe in PDA, public display of affection? Yes and no. If it's at a place that's reasonable, like I don't want to see you making out with your girl while you're buying eggs. But if it's at a nice restaurant and you lean over and have a kiss, it's acceptable. Now, if you're sitting at a restaurant and you're not sitting across from each other and you're sitting side by side, there's a problem. Okay? If you do that, you're a psychopath. Who sits next to their significant other while they're at Chili's, dude? What? Dude, I hate that. I always see that. I'm just like, oh, that's so cringe. Like it's always like the weirdest couples too. It's like the girl with pink hair and the dude with like a half his head shaved and half of it's not. It's always those weird couples, dude. The ones that just always have to be constantly next to each other, like they're bronies and stuff like that. That's it's those couples. Do you think past relationships should be discussed or kept secret? Ooh. Um, I feel like no matter what, they're gonna be talked about, especially in like the first couple months, if not a year. They're always gonna be brought up about, because if the person that you're going out with has anxiety, they're gonna have it. Or I feel like it depends on when you're going out with somebody. Like if it's like a college relationship, it's always gonna come up. If it's more of like a like you're 27 and you are looking to get married soon, I feel like it's not really gonna come up, because you're just gonna go like right into it and dive head first and kind of make it more of an adult relationship. I feel like in that way it really wouldn't come up, but I feel like no matter what, it's gonna come up. You know. In a relationship, let's do one more. We'll do this or that. Headphones or earbuds? Apple AirPods all the way, dude. I've been loving this iPhone 12. It's literally I don't even rock a case because I love the way it feels in my hand. And what was I gonna say? And I will always love you. Yeah, I don't like over the ear headphones unless I'm traveling or I'm playing games. I have these here. I also have a pair of Bose, and the Bose ones are noise canceling. I wear those when I'm on flights. I haven't traveled once this year, but if I did, I would bring those. One more. We'll do health and fitness, because I'm huge into that too. If you didn't know, I'm yoked. What is one subscription you don't want to live without? Spotify. Let me know what yours guys would be. I listen to music constantly. What is the heaviest thing you can lift? I'll tell a story for that. The heaviest thing I've lifted for like weight wise was when I squatted 4 plates. It was when I was the most jacked. I used to rep 315 for back squat. Now I'm barely touching 225, and I used to almost be able to bench 315. Now I'm barely touching 225. Not necessarily I'm not weak. I'm just not going for strength anymore. I'm just trying to stay shredded and toned, even though I just ate a whole thing of pizza, you know? But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. Make sure to check me out on Twitter, YMBSChris, on Instagram, YMBSChris. If you want to follow the pod, if you're listening to this on audio and you want to follow the pod on video, literally just search You Might Be Surprised podcast. It will be the first link. And if you want to follow the pod on Instagram, it's You Might Be Surprised. I'm having a fun blast doing these podcasts. I love doing them. They're literally the highlight of my week. I look forward to doing it. I need to write more for it. But it's hard. I don't want to make excuses. But it's hard whenever you work so much and you don't want to work and you just want to get home and just relax, and you're like, oh, I need to be creative. I need to do this. I need to do that. And yeah, man. But thank you guys so much for listening. If you made it this far, it means the world to me. Check me out. I'm going to be posting more about writing jokes and things like that and try to make these a little bit more funnier because I like being funny. Okay? All right? So thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Chris. You've been beautiful. Peace. 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 Deuces.